Welcome back, and...
Okay, we can now either follow Tomcat's lead to KCOB, or Fairlight's lead to Melody's home.
So we can do Fairlight, or we can do Tomcat.
It depends on what you want our focus to be on, in terms of tracking Hayden's trail. Should we follow the media, or the tech? Up to you where to go first.
I think it's obvious for me, I'm going to go after Tomcat. Got a choice of going to IO Core or Flower Mansion. It's the IO Core, isn't it, I want?
Here we are. The COS.io Corporation office building. It looks like most of the businesses on this block are a part of the same corporate coalition under COS.io.
Is it that important?
Well, perhaps. At the very least, it means it's unlikely they're the ones interfering with Augmented Eye's articles. Not impossible, but unlikely.
How so?
Generally, the companies in a coalition don't have a whole lot of overlap. Augmented Eye is a news app focused on local tech and culture stories, with an emphasis on hybrids' rights and cybernetics issues.
There's also a complete trash bag in Valhalla.
None of the other companies in the coalition cover news, so they aren't related at all, which is very much standard practice for these groups. They have nothing to gain by inviting companies with whom they compete, and thus none of them would benefit by trying to undermine Augmented Eye's credibility as a news source.
Tell me more about coalitions.
In the early 2020s, the California government was pretty much going bankrupt.
Sounds familiar.
A poor national economy and repeated voter initiatives meant the state didn't have the tax revenue to continue running municipal services. They kept pushing the tax burden down the totem pole until poorer cities were just flat broke. No police, no road work, complete public service collapse. Then, one of the smaller cities sold all of their public infrastructure, police and fire included, to a private corporation. This was eventually challenged in court, but several Silicon Valley corporations started a grassroots initiative to have citizens pass an amendment to the state constitution allowing it. They succeeded, and most of the major cities in the state sold off their public services to private corporations. Some places, like Los Angeles, just sold to the highest bidder. Which is probably why LA is essentially in a constant gang turf war, with one side wearing the uniforms of the studio-owned police forces.
Okay, I'm listening.
The cities in the Bay Area were they split the bill of running the city between them and keep each other from being too corrupt in their usage of the police force and such, from fear of a PR disaster and being kicked out of the coalition. It means there isn't as much money going around, which is why the NSFPD's equipment is out of date and the meshnet is so successful over normal cable networks. After all, without the promise of a city infrastructure bought and paid for, the corporations all treat running the city like a charity and PR stunt. But at least the police aren't irredeemably corrupt. The fire trucks still show up on time and the water runs to all parts of the city.
But not irredeemably corrupt.
That can't be said for some areas of the state.
Didn't realise things were that bad elsewhere. Why hasn't the federal government stepped in?
I haven't spent enough time learning about the subject, or politics in general, to give you an educated answer. If I go by the posts people make on the meshnet, I'd say a combination of having bigger fish to fry and caving to corporate pressure.
Sounds about right.
People seem certain that the larger multinational companies would love to be able to buy their own towns on a national scale, and are pumping money into Congress to try and make that happen. They hold up Neo-SF as an example of their success, while trying to bury the problems in LA as an anomaly. Combine that with unrest abroad, and I guess they don't have a whole lot of motivation to try and stop it. Historical precedent seems to lend credence to this interpretation, if you're willing to believe my hasty readings on the subject.
Oh, fair enough. Thanks for letting me in.
You're welcome. I am happy to assist.
I got an achievement for that. So what do we have here? We have up there a balcony of trees. The trees are genuine, real roof trees. They become a rage back in the 40s. Many companies sponsor roof trees, used to sponsor animals, but the Vaux Raccoon blackout of 2060 they stopped the practice. How do trees manage to grow so high?
According to the MeshNet, the COS.io Corporation office building proudly hosts over 100 species of birds in their trees. Well, that's nice.
Doesn't appear to be anything else up here, just trees. What else do we have? We have a car. 2062 ZIS CR4 Coupe. Perfect letting everyone know you spend a fortune in credits on a car. No, touch it. Are you having fun talking to this car? Yes, I am, thank you. Can I listen to a car? Okay, and can I pour milk on your car?
Those wipers look scary, pointed out like that.
We've got a window, we've got plants and planters. Welcome sign, window, plants, windows. The COS.io Corporation office building. Voice controlled, but screen begins to cycle through business listings. Let's listen to it. I'm Wizaki Peter. I'm so whacking and back to giving me his cars away. Why is that about a car you can't even drive? My cars are fun manual usage. Beep beep. Let's look at a window. Touch a window. Let's look at a door. Let's go in.
The MeshNet says Augmented Eye's SF office is run by an individual named Zin, and Tomcat confirmed she's expecting us. All we have to do now is head up and talk to her.
Okay, let's do it.
No shenanigans this time.
We have a motivational poster. No, people still hung up motivational posters on, ironically. You couldn't be bothered to take this. Also, no, theft. A photograph. Picture of a toupee, there's nothing to frame. Jade plant, plant. Within another plant. Monitor. Has a live updating weather forecast in the bottom corner of the screen. A super family link. Okay. Ah yeah, super family link. Which plays all the old hits like Yonkers Peninsula, Water Rash, and Super Slug 3. Revenge of a Super Slug.
The smart headphones technology is far too new.
Stash of video games. Sweet, an open duck game.
This game gives me the urge to start quacking on. Maybe later if you find. Or an adventure game.
Zin's IK-47 ROM.
The IK-47.
Strange looking desert, it curves out of the edges. Sharp dress woman stares you down. Don't Don't look away. No need to shake your hand before you speak.
Oh, hello. Welcome to Augmented Eye.
Hello.
You must be the journalist my network admin said would be showing up. Have a seat. Would you like a drink?
Well, it'd be nice.
My assistant will bring it right away. Look, I'll start off by saying I'm a little uncomfortable about bringing in another journalist to look into this. Whatever you dig up, I'll have to explain to the rest of the press. But it's still better than the other options. Chances are I have another corporation scoping out my territory. If they aren't in the coalition, they'll be expecting a corporate spy, not a news hound. If they are in the coalition, it won't look good for me to send in my own reporters against my allies. Even if I do end up being right. So if I'm damned either way, I'd rather it be by the media. At least then we can fight back on a familiar battlefield. Now, what do you know about our problem here?
Someone's tampering with your articles on Mesh.
That's the long and short of it. My network admin is pulling their hair out over it. I'm not going to pretend I understand everything they say, but from what I understand, the changes to our articles aren't being made from inside our network. The versions on our servers are still the originals, but at some point after they hit the mesh, they get changed. I'm hoping that you can do some digging, maybe hit up your contacts and get a lead on who might be doing it.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do.
Even if I have to get answers from the nightly news, it will be a big help.
Oh, what kind of changes are being made?
Mostly little things. Word choice, tone of the writing, things that make the writer appear more or less extreme on a topic. So far, almost all of the edits seem to be making our articles more positive on new technologies coming out, and more critical of organizations like the Human Revolution. That's actually what tipped us off. A harsh criticism one of my writers made about the Human Revolution protests was changed to be downright vitriolic, and I had a hell of a time putting out the fires. My writers and readers aren't exactly fans of them, but I'd rather not pick fights with the Human Revolution if I don't have to.
Why are you sure this isn't an inside job?
I guess I'm not, but my network admin assures me it's all coming from somewhere else. They told me that they tore out all of the routers that broadcast to the mesh and replaced them with fresh ones. All kinds of tricks involving IP addresses and DNS changes that I'm not going to even begin to claim to understand. I pay them big bucks, so I'm inclined to believe them unless you dig up something that tells me otherwise.
Any ideas where I should start looking?
Not really. My admin says that only someone with intimate access to Parallax's network protocols could make these kind of changes as something passes across the net. Personally, I think it's a clever hacker rather than someone inside Parallax itself. The public trust rating of Parallax makes them look like a saint among wolves, so their control over the mesh network provisions is strangling. It's trivially easy to set up ROMs to use a different OS than LIPS or a different meshnet protocol without that trust. Or, you know, Parallax is abusing its power to spread pro-tech propaganda. Doubtful they need to. I'm sure you'll be a good journo and bring me back the right answer.
Okay, that's a start.
I know tin hat conspiracies aren't an ideal start, but it's the best we can do with the info we have. Anything else I can tell you, off the record? If you want it on the record, it'll cost you your firstborn and a really good cigar.
Know if anyone else had articles manipulated?
Alright, look. I wasn't going to tell you this. If it gets out, I'd have to answer some really hard questions.
Okay.
So, you didn't hear this from me. You might want to go check out TMI Entertainment and Charlie Nova.
Charlie Nova, huh?
That's all I'll say. And remember, you take a bite out of him with my name as your defense, I drop you fast.
Any idea why you've been targeted?
Like what? There isn't much more I can tell you about Augmented Eye, really. It's a fairly simple and straightforward operation, if I say so myself. We started off in Venezuela as a sleek current events and news organization in 2055. Almost 10 years ago now. We focus on more in-depth reporting of on-the-street happenings, on top of major news. We are one of the few good ones left. Once folks in other cities saw the type of reporting we do, they all clamored for it.
Started in Venezuela, eh?
They invested in the right places and it paid off. COS-IO Corp is happy to have us here in the OSF. It wasn't until hybrid tech started hitting the public sphere that we had to make any changes to our model. All of that said, I can't see why anyone would target us. Unless they're just trying to embroil us in a mudslinging match with the human revolution, and there are much more direct ways of making that happen.
What's the real reason you're bringing outside help? You're a journalist, should be able to handle things digging up a hacker.
What? Not wanting to answer prying questions from my coalition board isn't a good enough reason? 'Cause I'd really like to avoid that. And look, you've covered culture wars, right? My journalists are good, but they're mostly good at gadget reviews, implant releases, not taking too many stims so they remember what they did at raves for the after-party reports. This needs an investigative journalist with serious contacts, not tech personalities.
Okay, but why me?
The fact that my network admin recommended you to me means you probably know the right people.
Okay.
Now, does that cover it? I'd like to remove my nose from your ass.
I'll get back to you if I have any more questions.
No, don't bother. In hindsight, I probably should have been a bit more circumspect about speaking to you. Plausible deniability and all that. I won't ask you to lie in anything you write, but do remember you got in contact with me not even secondhand, but third-hand. I certainly didn't sick you on anyone. Wink wink, nudge nudge, or whatever. If you need anything else, have your person get with my person. Don't come here directly. Now, I'd show you the door, but you know the way. And this isn't the only fire I'm trying to put out. Good luck, and goodbye.
Well, that was more confrontational than I'd have expected, considering she was the one needing help. She never brought you that water, either.
No, she didn't.
Is it always like this?
She knows the game. We didn't walk away with nothing.
Very true. I will admit that I am interested in the possibility of a link back to Parallax. If all of this really is due to somebody manipulating the mesh net on the inside, it may give us the leverage we need to find out what happened to Hayden once and for all. That said, I will take care not to get my hopes up.
Yeah, you do that.
We should make no assumptions when investigating, lest we lead ourselves down a false path. Anyway, seems like our next step is... What the...
Up there.
What the... That's Sin!
Okay. What the hell happened?
She was defenestrated. emergency services are already on the way, and we are severely ill-equipped to help her. We should head back to her office and see if we can determine what happened here. Perhaps we can still dispense justice. This is how we dispense justice, right?
What do we have here? What we have here is the end of the episode. Till next time.